Hello friends, I'm Arty and I have aphantasia, and in today's video I'm going to be reacting to some aphantasia TikToks with you guys. If you're new here or not one of the 9.7% of subscribers that come back to my channel every week, on this channel I make videos about ADHD, MBTI, mental health, personal development and just general stuff on the internet I find interesting, which happens to include my blind mind's eye. Feel free to check out my other aphantasia videos up here or here, where I've done a sketch on what it's like to be in an aphantasia police interview. Probably should have led with this, but I do have aphantasia, which means I don't have a visual memory and I can't actually give detail. Okay, we're done here. Get him out of here. If I ever get called in to be a witness for some kind of crime, I'm screwed. But stick around for this video if you want to watch some aphantasia TikToks with me. There are some really awesome ones on here that are dismantling some of the myths about aphantasia, like the vicious rumors that aphants, yeah. Not all people with aphantasia don't have an imagination. People are coming forward on TikTok specifically and being like, just because I can't visually see things doesn't mean that my mind's eye is dead altogether or that I can't come up with alternative ways of looking at things that people with visual memories seem to take for granted. So let's dive in. The first one we have here is
how to tell if you have a soul. Can you visualize the apple in your mind? Can you see it? How clear is it?
5.
Visualization equals abstract thought. If you can. Sorry.
So I don't have a soul? Rude. Yep.
Aphantasia, I wonder what that's about. Researchers are now realizing that not everyone can visualize stuff in their mind's eye. Weird. They can think about objects that aren't physically in front of them, but they don't actually see an image of them in their head.
Yes.
Wait, you are walking among us, unbeknownst to us. They think that when we say imagine something or visualize something, it just means to think about it even though you can't see it. Them solving a math problem or analyzing a philosophical concept feels almost identical to things like visualize yourself on a beach or imagine what a chair looks like. When they close their eyes, they just see black, but they fool us because they still describe what they would see if they were seeing something.
He's about to lose his mind because it's like, fuck you, I can see it, I just can't see it, you know? Like, I could see it, but I can't see it, you know?
You see things?
See, this is a scam right here. The fact that other people can visualize their notes and take a mental cheat sheet into their test. You literally get given a syllabus when you do an exam and you're taking classes. If I could visually memorize things, I would never fail anything ever again. I don't know how people with a visual memory fail anything, because all you have to do is memorize a bunch of pages for the answers of the test and you're sorted. No wonder we get screwed over so much with exams and stuff. Like, I'm amazing at assignments where I've got my own time to like create an assignment like over a couple weeks, but for me to sit down and do a test is very hard for me, having aphantasia, ADHD and dyslexia. So if people can actually just memorize, like they can take, it's like having a USB in your brain filled with PNG images and you can just look up the answers in your head. Anyone who can visualize and doesn't have aphantasia that has ever failed an exam, what's your excuse? Honest to God, like, oh, I'm baffled. That's a goddamn superpower. It blows my mind that people can just cheat in tests like that. Not literally cheat in tests, but you know what I mean? That's a goddamn superpower. I wish I could do that so bad. Memories.
How do memories work with people who suffer from aphantasia? Yeah, I learned how to say it. For those that don't know, aphantasia is basically your mind's eye is blind. As I'm absolutely fascinated with aphantasia right now, go ahead, close your eyes, and picture a red star. If you're a 3 through 6, you're pretty much the normal group of people. If you're 1, you have aphantasia. So the question becomes, how the hell do we ever think or remember things? Well, I can only speak for me, but memories work similar to trying to just imagine things. There is no imagery. I think the best way to describe it is somebody who's actually physically blind was once asked, when you look, do you see black? They responded with, no. Seeing black is a color. How about you try to look behind your head? Tell me, what do you see? And who can see says, I don't see anything. That's what it's like to be physically blind, and that's what it's like having aphantasia.
Yeah, it's like I remember what things looked like when I was literally looking at them. I know what this cup looks like. I can't see the cup, but I was looking at the cup moments ago. I can kind of remember what it should be looking like, but I'm still not seeing anything, you know?
If I was to try and imagine this cute little guy's face in my head, I don't see anything. But I just know that I'm thinking about that dog. It's really hard to explain.
Yep, really hard to explain.
Hey, so if you watch part 1, you'd know that I don't have a mind's eye. And maybe you don't have one either. It's
First of all, I love South African accents. They're so cool.
a fairly new topic in psychological literature. So basically we are all on the spectrum from 0 to 10. And if you're a 10 on the spectrum, that means you've got hyperphantasia. It means you can see really detailedly within your mind's eye. And if you're a 0, then you've got aphantasia, like myself. And it means you can't see anything. So other people who are just lower on the spectrum probably see in like 2D or maybe black and white. But if suddenly now you're realizing you may be a 0, then try and visualize something like your mom holding an apple. You can do this with your eyes closed or open, it doesn't matter.
No, I can't. I can't do that, sorry. Meeting of the neurodivergents.
We have to pick something. Who's that? Do you mean synesthesia? They've been here the whole time.
Sup?
Not them.
Do you think they're lost? The mood disorders aren't until tomorrow.
I'm not saying you've got none, but you've got the social anxiety. Oh yeah, thanks.
Alright, first one, aphantasia. No mind's eye. No mind's eye at all. Oh no, it's worse. The other one is so new they don't have a name and they don't have any internal monologue. What?
Legit, right? I honestly don't know. Like, because I don't have a mind's eye, and because I can't visualize things, my internal monologue seems to be on hyperdrive. That's probably to do with ADHD as well. So when I'm stuck with a task of, say, when people do things like visualize this or try and imagine the outcome of this happening, other people just look at it in their mind, but I have my inner monologue running rampant going, well, what would it look like? What would it be? What's the scale of it? In what situation? Like, what would the colors be? Like, what is the environment like? What does it smell? All of that. So people who don't have an internal monologue, and I feel bad for this because I know it's annoying when people say that people who can't imagine have got nothing going on up in their head, but people with no monologue, how do you consciously think about things without talking out loud? How do you think things without conversating with yourself? Is it completely subconscious? Are you not actively thinking about it? Because I feel like when you have an internal monologue, you're actively conversing with that voice in your head and analyzing it from a third person I'm literally having a stroke just thinking about not having an internal monologue, because my internal monologue is everything to me, and also my biggest nightmare because it's a rumination that is just driving my mental health into the ground when my mental health is bad. I wish I could turn off my inner monologue, but that's going to require me to be a lot more invested in meditation, and that's really hard to do.
What's that one basic human concept that your brain just cannot wrap your head around?
I think one of the things is called aphantasia, where it's you can visually, if you can imagine something, you can actually see it in your head. I think that's the weirdest thing ever. So one way to tell is, we'll do a really quick test. So imagine a red star. I'll give you a moment. No, I'll just give you a moment.
No, can't
I'll
see
give
it.
you.
I can't see it. Cannot see it.
I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even
That's so cool. I wish.
to fall to lose it all, but in the end,
Legit, it's just like nothing. I see nothing. My internal monologue is describing everything that I'm reading back to me real time. So I don't get, are there people out there with aphantasia and no inner monologue? How the fuck do you read things? Like, really? Is it just like, yeah, straight into your brain and you don't even think about it? Or what? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you see, when I'm dreaming, I'm seeing it absolutely vividly. But the second I wake up, it's gone. It's almost like aphantasia only affects me when I'm awake and conscious. Like, I can't replay back a dream in my mind the same way I can't just think of a red apple in general. Like, but in my dreams, I'm seeing it so real, but I don't think it's me. It's that part of me that's asleep, if that makes sense. And that makes me wonder, if you don't have aphantasia, anyone that's watching this, can you replay back a dream you had and look at it again? Because I can't. I have some terrifying dreams. I've had some of the most absurdly horrendous, like horror story, thriller-esque nightmares where like my family and my friends and like my partner and stuff are getting murdered and things, and like my teeth are falling out and like I'm getting shot, or like I fall down a hole and I'm mangled in my arms and like horrible shit. Going through it, mentally unstable periods in my life. And if I had to relive those again when I woke up, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably go insane. I understand how PTSD affects people without aphantasia a lot more, because having to relive some of my dreams is the worst thing I can ever think of. So I'm thankful for aphantasia on that front.
There's one thing you can expect from me, and that's the unexpected. 'Cause I'm an international super spy. Super spy! There's one thing you can expect.
See, that's odd too. I feel like when you have aphantasia and you're like drafting up something creative, you go through a lot more drafts. Like if I'm sketching something or creating something for my YouTube, like this background, for example, it took me like 30 attempts to even get, like I kind of visualized this background in my head, but not really, because I couldn't actually see it. I was like, I want my name as a logo tiled so that I have some kind of background. And I didn't know how to do it, and I didn't know how far to space things apart, and I wish I had like the revisions for how I got to this point, because it was like all over the place and there was too many gaps and stuff. Because I couldn't visualize it from the beginning, it took me a lot longer. But it doesn't mean I couldn't get there. It just means my process was quite literally real time. I couldn't just imagine it first in my head and then go from there, if that makes sense.
My inbox and comments have been filled with questions like this, and it's whether someone with aphantasia like myself is able to dream. And the quick answer is yes. Let's say I had a dream of you naked riding a horse. I would dream it in color and it would be
fantastic. I'm glad you had that experience. I reckon I'd be quite amazing on a horse naked.
And I think I'd be able to see it all. But in the morning, all I could do is say that I had a dream of you riding a horse naked. I wouldn't be able to envision it or think of what it looked like. I think the amount of imagery I'd be able to see is equivalent to me just writing the words on a piece of paper.
Exactly. Like, just thinking of that, in movies and stuff, when there's like some kind of, say like a stalker or someone who is obsessed with a girl or a boy or whatever, and they're visualizing their life with them and they're obsessed with them and they're undressing them with their eyes and they're having dreams about them, like raunchy sexual dreams and stuff. They're quite literally living it in their mind, in their imagination. And I've never quite understood how people could get so obsessed with someone in your dreams, like you being with them in a really intimate way, and you could relive that day after day after day. You would go insane. I always wondered why lunatics and stalkers and stuff didn't just move on, because they're kind of brainwashing themselves into this hypothetical existence that they want to happen by reliving it in their mind. I'm sure, I'm not saying that it's exclusive to people who don't have aphantasia, but I can't imagine someone with aphantasia like obsessing over someone quite that much and creating like narratives in a really vivid way like that. When people say they had these amazing dreams and they want to go and chase them, I'm like, what do you mean go and chase them? Like, have you not already forgot the dreams? Like when people say, oh, I dreamt that we were on holiday together and it was amazing. I'm like, yeah, cool, but why are you still obsessed with that dream? It's already been erased, hasn't it? Why are you still thinking about it? How are you still thinking about it? Because they literally can keep living that dream, which is terrifying. Note to self, if you get a stalker, make sure they don't have aphantasia. Probably much less dramatic, I imagine.
I'm really glad you mentioned this. If you have difficulty visualizing or have aphantasia, which is an inability to visualize, this is exactly what you need to do. This misconception a lot that visualization only has to do with the sense of sight, when in fact it encompasses all of your senses. Most cases, people who can't visualize actually do better with certain methods like the rope technique, where you're just feeling a rope and you're focusing on the tactile sensations. If you're someone who can't visualize, this is exactly what I want you to do to have your astral projection experience. Go through the steps that I displayed in my last video. If you haven't seen it, it's on the page. Instead of trying to see from a different perspective, try to feel from a different perspective.
exactly right. Like when I do meditations, it took me a long time to realize that I can't do visual meditations. I can't sit down, imagine a crackling fire or floating on a cloud. But the meditations where you go through your body and you imagine sensations tingling down your hands and going down your body, and feel your senses and your nerve endings going down your legs and your knees and then your feet and your toes. I can totally do that. Like I can feel it in the moment. So yeah, this guy is like talking specifically about astral projection, and a big element of astral projection or like deep meditation in general is being able to emotionally connect to the situation. So I think we're really good at that. So that's kind of a plus on our side. Because we can't visualize it, our senses are heightened in other ways. Well, that's about it for aphantasia TikToks today, guys. And let me know, if you have aphantasia, can you smell things in your memories? I can smell. I have smell-o-vision. Have you ever tried astral projection? Are you any good at being able to sense your body without visualizing it? If you're an artist, let me know. I'd love to know if there are any other creative aphantasians out there. If you don't have an inner monologue, please let me know in the comments. I absolutely can't wrap my head around that. And if you have no inner monologue and you're an aphantasian, I'd love to study you. Hit me up. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, anywhere you can find me, because I'd love to talk to you and pick your brains. Well, obviously not pick your inner monologue, but talk to you directly. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all so much, and see you next week. Bye.
The outro, who makes it to the outro? You've made it to the outro, and why? Because I really want to know. Perhaps you want to watch another video? And that's great, because I want to come on the show. Yeet.